We did it. We're live once again. It's a Saturday morning here on the Daddykirbs farm, and we're live.
Good morning.
Blake, Kate here, Blake here, aka Daddykirbs. I'm very grateful for those of you who are here with me live. Also grateful for those who are watching this in replay later. It's a beautiful morning. We got sort of almost rained out. We were set to do the show in the yard like per normal, and it got kind of misty, and we didn't want the phone and the computer to get all messed up, so we moved up to the Daddykirbs front porch. So welcome. Good morning. I see there's about 18 people here already. It's good to see you. A lot of familiar names. I haven't checked everyone yet, but we're going to scroll through, say howdy in a few minutes. But I wanted to make sure everyone had an opportunity. If you haven't already, go get your coffee or your favorite beverage, and let's enjoy this hour. I'm going to take a drink.
Okay.
All right, it's been a pretty good week. Pretty good as in, you know, nothing bad happened. But we also got some things. I want to jump right into this because it's always kind of fun. Every October, one of the things that we have to look forward to is that whenever the pumpkin patch is done with their pumpkins, they just liquidate all of the remaining stock, and in most cases the pumpkin patches, if you say I'm a farmer and I'm feeding animals, they'll just let you have them for free after the first day of November, right after Halloween. So we got our load of pumpkins. I got a bunch of pumpkins. Kate saw them when she came in this morning. She was pretty shocked, the big pile of pumpkins.
Yeah.
I said pumpkin because that's how I used to say it when I was a kid. Pumpkins. I don't know if you can see it behind me. You can see right over there, there's a line of orange. Those are the pumpkins that are sitting on a truck rack and, trying to keep them off the ground. So let's see who's here this morning. Let me go ahead and go through the purpose of the show, just in case you're brand new. This is your first Daddykirbs live show that you've ever watched. This is the Saturday morning live show experience. The purpose of the show is to engage with the audience, to share this time, to answer some questions that have come up possibly during the week in the comments of my YouTube videos, and then also to answer your questions here in the live show. I get to see the chat. I have to scroll through. You might see me getting quiet and looking intently at the screen. That's me scrolling through the chat so I can read your questions. Also, Kate over here, she's got her set up, and she helps me manage the show and keeps me alert to some of the things that are more important or critical. Well, you're all very important. Every question, every comment, very important. But there are some that come up and I miss them because I'm busy chatting and I don't get to see all of those. So the purpose of the show, to love you, engage with you, answer questions, and just share an hour building family and community. And then she laughs and I have no idea what she's talking about or laughing at.
Paul Otis says I run the show. No, Paul, I don't.
Kate runs the show, that's right. Normally Maggie runs the show, but she's behind the fence now.
Right.
That's my horse, just in case you think maybe I'm keeping people locked behind fences. All right, let's see who is in the show already. I'm going to scroll all the way up. And let's see, Meredith Grace was the first to join us this morning. Good morning, Meredith. Paul Otis. Xavier Wee. Hey, Xavier, it was really cool seeing you in the Daddykirbs family group this week with your new hat. I shipped a hat. He was the winner of one of our hat contests. So he received his hat, and he is now posting pictures in the family group, and that's really cool. Really nice to get to know you, Xavier. Let's see here, Meredith. Oh, here, I feel like I have to scroll too fast. I might miss somebody. John Heffnecker. I feel like I say everyone's name wrong, but you'll just have to forgive me. Nicholas Rappaport. I haven't seen that name, I don't think, before. Good morning. Good to see you. Oh, Nicholas left. Paul Otis. Good Game Bees in Homestead. Good morning, Good Game Bees. Wicked Westphalia. Good morning, Nicholas. Oh, I just said Nicholas.
Oh, he's back.
Brooke Chilvers. Good morning. All right, Jamie Bird. I got a good-looking crowd here. Brenda Duncan, good morning. All right, good. I probably missed somebody, sorry, but it's really good to have you here this morning. I have a few things I want to talk about. One is the pumpkins, how we use the pumpkins, and how I would love to hear how you use pumpkins in the fall if you have an excess of pumpkins, because that is a whole lot of fruit that you have to figure out what to do with. I know that Kate is the food preservation queen. She likes to can things and make fruit butters and roll-ups, leathers, all those things. So she was sharing with me some of her plans for doing some of the fruit leathers. I won't spoil it because she's going to make some posts. But she's also going to experiment with doing different ways of working with the pumpkins. So, yeah. So the way that we typically use pumpkins, the normal daily way that we use pumpkins, is that we just break them open, lay them in the yard, and the ducks, chickens, and goats, and the tortoises all eat pumpkins. And that's really good for them. It's good for their gut. The seeds that they eat has a natural chemical, I guess, in it that is a deworming chemical that helps keep the worms out of their system. It doesn't kill the worms. And my understanding is that the pumpkin seed, as a dewormer, doesn't kill the worms in the animal gut, but it allows them to pass. So it cleanses their system. So that is something that we look forward to every year, getting lots of pumpkin seeds into all of our animals to give them that annual flush.
Would that be because of the fiber in the pumpkin seeds?
No.
Because I know they're more fibrous than most other things.
It may have something to do with fiber, but there's also a chemical in it. I can't remember the name, but there's a chemical. My understanding is that between the seed and the shell is a membrane, and that membrane has a lot of this particular chemical, and it causes the worms to not hold on, so they flush out of the system.
Very good.
I also read that cucumbers have the same chemical in them, maybe the cucumber seeds, but they are not quite as potent as the pumpkin seeds. So maybe in the summer, if you wanted to do a routine, this is just me thinking how it could possibly work. In the summer, you give your animals some cucumbers to help give them that little bit of flush, and then in the fall, you can give them the pumpkin seeds. So that is one way that we use the pumpkins, and we like to have a lot of them because the chickens and goats and tortoises can go through a lot of pumpkins. Hey, I see that Hannah's Simple Thoughts is here, and she has a kombucha question. Just started making your kombucha tea recipe, delish by the way. We're just curious how much you recommend drinking each day. Well, this is what I typically recommend when people ask me how much. I say, when you first start, if you've never had it at all before, then you start with about 2 ounces. And you drink that, see how your tummy feels. Maybe a few hours later, you drink another couple ounces. So 2 ounces for the first day, maybe 2 ounces twice a day for the second day, and again for the third day maybe. And if you feel pretty good, if you don't have any terribly rumbly tummies or anything, then possibly go up to 4 ounces, and then 4 ounces twice a day. Just step it up until you're comfortable. Once you reach a point where you know you have no issue, kombucha is your thing, drink a pint to a quart a day, and really, you'll be fine. For a while, I was drinking 1 to 2 pints a day every day. I kind of broke routine, and I lost my rhythm there for a while. So, yeah, right now, I have a batch brewing. I haven't had anything for a little while, so we'll probably start slow again when we start back up.
John Haffenecker sent you a message that you said his name right, but for ease of use, call him Haffy.
Haffy. All right, Haffy's easier. John Haffy, or just Haffy. All right, so another way that I like to use the pumpkin, we like to add pumpkin puree to our dog food. Dogs benefit greatly from the pumpkin puree because, quite honestly, I can't tell you all the reasons why because I don't know, but my wife has done a little bit of research. Mama Kirbs has done the research, and she knows that Dogs do well with pumpkin added to their dog food. So this is how we do the pumpkins. We take the pumpkin and we cut it in half, and we take the 2 halves and we lay them upside down so they're like a dome on a cookie sheet, you know, something with a little bit of a wall, not just a flat cookie sheet, but like a, I don't know what you call it, but a baking sheet with a little bit of a lip, because there will be some liquid. And we like to put some parchment paper in there as well. And you bake that for an hour or 2 or however long it takes for it to be soft. And then you turn it over and you scrape all the flesh out and put it in your blender and make a puree. Now, you may want to let the pumpkin cool, because man, when that pumpkin's hot, it's hot. So don't hurt yourself. You can put that, once that's cooled, then you put the puree in some jars. You can even, no, actually you can't. I was getting ready to say you can can it, but you should not can pumpkin puree because it's too dense, too thick, and you won't get the inside of it preserved well. I'm probably not talking like a real canner, but...
You're doing fine.
Yeah, thank you. The pumpkin puree won't preserve well. So if you're going to do pumpkin canned for later, you have to do it in chunks. But anyway, if you're going to do the puree, what we usually do, we'll put them in freezer bags, lay them flat so you can stack them up and freeze them, and they don't take up a lot of freezer space when they're laid flat, and then you can pull them out one at a time, thaw them out, put them in your dog food, and you're in good shape. So that's another way that we use our pumpkins.
And when you do this, before you put it down to bake, do you remove the seeds at that point?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we remove the seeds before we do the pumpkins, because we process our pumpkin seeds, the ones that don't go out in the yard for the animals. We just put all of the pumpkin seeds and the goo from the middle of the pumpkin down in a 5-gallon bucket, and we fill it with water, and we, you know, smoosh them around until the slime falls off. We separate the pumpkin seeds from the slime, and then we lay the pumpkin seeds out on a board or a table out in the sun, because here in Texas we have plenty of that, and you can't tell today. But once those pumpkin seeds are nice and dry in the sun, then we'll take the pumpkin seeds into the blender and make a powder, and then we store it in canning jars. And then the powder, this is interesting to some, the pumpkin seed powder gets put into our food as well as sprinkled on the dog food. Because once again, that pumpkin seed not only does have lots of vitamins and minerals, but it has that chemical that helps keep your intestines clear of parasites, the worms, exactly.
Also, for those of you who do not have problems with vine borers, you can dry them like Blake said, store them in an envelope or something that you can keep them dry, plant them next year, and you've got pumpkins again.
Exactly. We don't do well with pumpkins here, so I don't generally plant them. We just eat the seeds. We get our pumpkins from the excess pumpkins that come. I think a lot of the pumpkins here come from New Mexico on big trucks. That's what I've heard anyway. And then they put them out for the pumpkin patches, and then they have to get rid of the excess. New Mexico doesn't want them back. So let's see here. Snow. Who's talking about snow?
Paul Otis, they just got snow, and the snowplow just drove by his house. He said.
Oh, locked them in? Locked them in your driveway with a snowplow, making the great big mountains of snow right in front of your driveway?
You know about snow.
I do. I grew up in Indiana, so I'm familiar with snow. It's a distant memory, and I push it further and further back in my mind because I don't want it. Yeah, he's making snow berms. And then the streets are your snow swales. So yeah, I have a memory of snow and the snow plows and all the gunk that goes with it, but here in Texas we don't deal with that, and that's why I stay in Texas. It's one of the reasons I stay in Texas.
And I lived in Nebraska for 18 months. I got to see snow one year.
Oh yeah?
So, and that's the only snow I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, well at least you got to see it once. Hey, DD Dreamer, 1995 just joined us. Mysterious joined us. Good morning. Good to see you all here this morning. My Visla as well, or Visla. Very good. Hey, is the video quality good this morning? Because I feel like it's pretty good. The internet's working well, And the picture on my screen looks pretty good. It looks pretty good over here. That's exciting. We often have a bit of a challenge here on the farm with our internet and keeping a good show because of the buffering and the pictures that are all pixelated. But right now it's good. Good Game B says we get a little each year, but nothing like that. Here in Mississippi, an inch shuts down everything. Exactly. Yep.
Doesn't even take an inch here.
Yeah, no, we just have to mention that it might snow and the whole city shuts down. Jesus Ramirez, hey Kirby, how you doing? Good morning, good to see you. Yeah, the video is looking good, isn't it? I'm impressed. You know, this is kind of exciting. It's very exciting in one way, and then also sort of not. We had to get a lot of trees trimmed, and they had to clear some of the woods back here, which is the not exciting part because I like my trees. However, the reason they were doing that is they're clearing a path to go under the power lines because they're talking about doing running fiber optics out here. Can you believe it? Possibly I could get fiber optic video or what do you call it, internet on my farm so that all of this weak internet challenge with the live shows won't even be an issue anymore because I will have a super strong internet signal. So I'm excited about that. Not so excited that I had to lose some trees, but I guess that's part of the sacrifice, that we don't have much choice when the power lines are running through your property. Yeah, finally. Exactly. How are the bees? Xavier beat Paul Otis to the question. Okay, I think we're done with pumpkins unless somebody can think of another way that that they're using pumpkins very creatively. I'd love to hear that. Good Game B says they cleared, hold on, scrolling. They cleared power lines here recently. They made a mess everywhere. The good, it's a free way to get mulching material if you know where to find the crew. I actually did get a huge pile because I told the guys when they came on my property, I said, you know, you're here, you're doing a job. I'm actually really excited to watch you because I like seeing that type of thing. It's exciting to me watching crews work. Maybe I'm just weird, but I think that's fun. But I said, what I need from you guys is that big truck of mulch dumped right here. Don't take it off my farm because I need it. And they were happy to do that because I asked them, I said, how do you typically manage all of that mulch? And they do have a free place to dump it, but they have to drive 30 miles away to get there, dump their mulch, and then come back to the work site. So I saved them easily 2 hours, you know, leaving, dumping, driving back, getting back to the job. And that was at the end of the day. So I probably allowed them to go home early that day. That was very, very exciting because I got a big pile of mulch.
I have a deal worked out with a local tree service in our area. They have to drive a long way to dump from when they're in my area, and they have to pay $50 per load.
Wow.
So they come and dump it on my yard. Makes me happy. I give the driver $20 for his time. They don't have to pay to dump it, and I get all kinds of wood chips.
That's a good deal. I didn't offer the $20. I'm too cheap.
Well, I just figured if he was going to take the time to come and do it,
yeah.
he unloads it exactly where I want it. He's very careful about it. Why not?
I think that's a great deal.
I thought so too. Now I have 5 huge piles of
and
wood chips. I need to do something.
I need to get my tractor down there and get it moved. See, Home Place Journal says, grew up in West Tennessee. If one snowflake fell, it was sheer panic, and there was a run on the stores. That's pretty funny. That's how it is here. Sherry, good morning. Video is good. Did I miss anything about the horses? We haven't talked too much about Maggie the horse yet. Because the only thing I mentioned was that she will no longer be sticking her face and tail into the live show because she's behind a fence now. And she seems to like it pretty well back there. She seems pretty happy. My daughter gets her out, walks her around. Yesterday she rode her around, and she's doing really, really well. Teo, the horse that will be coming to the farm, we're looking at the end of November. Again, hoping that happens the end of November. Everything is pretty much ready. We just got to get there and get it done. So yeah, we're a few weeks away from that. Maurie's Vegetable Garden. Did I say it right this time? Maury.
yeah.
Good morning, Kate and Kirby. Home Place Journal. Brenda, let's see. We have fiber optics running right up to our property line, but not to my house. Oh my goodness. You need to hook into that. Tap into that fiber.
Mm-hmm.
See, good game. They just dump it on little country roads. They will dump it on your property if you catch them, but I've been pitchforking still free. Yeah, as long as you can get that material on your farm and put it to good use on your gardens, just spread it around.
And orchards.
What I've noticed here is that we have Bermuda grass. Bermuda grass, now this is not what you want. Typically when you put down a bunch of mulch, you don't want grass growing everywhere. But I think a tip for this area, if you want a lawn, put out the mulch, because the Bermuda grass loves that.
Yeah. And if you don't, put cardboard under it.
Yeah. Well, even the cardboard doesn't stop the Bermuda grass too well. But the tortoises and the horse love eating that grass, so there's always something that can use that.
I thought next time I cut them down, I'll bring it here.
There you go.
Just what you need, more Bermuda grass.
That's right. Frederick Walter, good morning. Got some people I haven't recognized come in before. So another topic that I wanted to hit before we got too far, and then the hour's gone like normal. We just chat, and then the hour's gone, and I leave some things out. That was like...
tandem drink.
Yeah, what do you call that, where they dance in sync? What do they call that?
I have no clue.
Where they dance and swim?
Oh, I can't think of the word either.
Whatever. We did it at the same time. Okay,
Yeah.
So I did, synchronized. That's what it is. Synchronized. See, all I have to do is act like I don't know what's going on, and you guys help me out. So last night, I finally got a nuke box. You can see my nuke box, not very well. Painted white because I do have plans on making some splits. I have 3 wooden nuke boxes. No, I have 5. I just remembered I have 2 different styles of nuke boxes. I have a total of 5 nuke boxes. 2 are already painted. 3 needed painted. I got 2 of those painted last night. I will be placing my fancy schmancy opening on the front of these boxes. I have to cover the opening that's there right now, maybe even just with some mesh, and then put my opening on the front of there. These, by the way, can be found here. Little plug. Get that? All right. So I have a total of 4 painted nuke boxes. They're all of this style of nuke is going to get this opening on them. I'm going to be splitting, hopefully, all of the hives this next spring, because I'm down to 3 hives. I don't know if you guys watched the video this past week where I was showing how I was making the feeders, and then I recognized that one of my hives is gone. And I don't think the hive died. I think they left because the hive was way too clean. Typically when there's a lot of bees dying, you know, there's bees everywhere, there's just a mess. There's something different about a hive that leaves compared to a hive that dies. And this one just was really too clean, I think. So I think they left, and I caught it just in time because there was only a little tiny bit of wax moth, not much. So I think the moth had just found it. And my bearded dragon, by the way, his name is Jenga, loves the wax moth larva, the little worms that comes off out of those webs in the hive. So he got a little something out of that. And so I need to get back up to, oh, good morning. Thank you, A-Lynn, for the $5 super chat. Says, I too live on acreage in South Texas. I'm considering ordering baby chickens Is there a best time of year to do this? Actually, I believe there is a best time of year. Depends on the chicken, actually. Chickens need to be warm. So if you're going to order them to travel through the mail, doing it when it's warm is best, because if it gets cold, they get stressed and you probably will have some failure. And so ordering them when it's warm enough. If they're meat chickens, if you're ordering for meat, order them early in the year. Maybe it's still a little cold. They're going to come. There's going to be 15 or more birds typically, so they're going to be able to huddle together and be warm. But you need them to raise up and be ready for harvest before it gets too hot, because the meat breeds, the large breeds, don't like the heat. So that's one thing. If you're ordering them just as chicks for fun or egg layers, then I would say do it a little later in the year when it's already warmer. That way the success of them shipping to your house, if that's how you're doing it, your shipping success is higher. If you're buying from a farm or anyone nearby, then you can buy them pretty much any time of the year, providing that they have them in a warm place, a brooder, and you can transport them in a warm box to your brooder at home. It really is all about the heat. Baby chicks need to be around 95 to 100 degrees for closer to 100 degrees for the first couple weeks of their life. So yeah, just make sure that they don't get stressed out and cold.
And not sitting on a heating pad.
Yeah, not sitting on a heating pad. They need to be able to get out of the heat as needed. Typically in a brooder, you have a heat source, a ceramic heater or something like that on one side, and then also space for them to walk in and out of that heat range. So they have a hot spot and a cool side, and they will find that range in the middle that they need. So yeah, that's something important for your baby chicks. Let's see here. Scrolling through. Pony Vet showed up. Good morning. Late as usual. Ever try leaving swarm traps around? I haven't done any swarm traps yet. I do hope to do that at some point. My buddy Mark, Mr. Mark from the log extraction video that you guys got to be a part of, he does swarm traps and hives all over 2 counties. And I need to ask him about doing some swarm traps. Yeah, because I just don't have enough experience or knowledge. I have just a little tiny bit of knowledge that I get to see on YouTube videos, or whenever I'm looking through beekeeping websites, I might go and look at some of the swarm articles, but that isn't a project that I've wanted to jump into yet, so I haven't accumulated the knowledge needed for that yet.
We have people watching from Ireland, from Singapore, and now from South Korea.
Wow. All over the world. Daddykirbs Farm reaching out. South Korea, that's A. Graham. Good morning. I can see that one. And then, of course, Xavier Wee from Singapore. And you said Ireland? Who's from Ireland?
James something. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
That's okay. And let's see. Lucrative says, watching while making bacon. Bacon. Even as a mostly non-meat eater, bacon sounds good. Bacon smells good. That's right. Xavier from Singapore. Good morning. Okay. Swarm traps aren't difficult. Blake, this is Good Game Bees, also a beekeeper with lots of beekeeping information if you want to check out Good Game Bees channel. Actually, a good idea to put one near your own hives. If they swarm, you can hopefully get them back. I've thought about that, is just having a place for the swarms that leave my hives to go. Hopefully they go there. When I move the apiary, because I'm going to move the apiary from one spot to 30 yards, a little bit over, a little more protected from actually protecting the neighbor kids that play over here from my bees flying through their yard, hopefully changing the flight path a little bit. But I do hope to put some swarm traps up in the trees or up on posts around the new apiary when I get that set up.
And what is a swarm cap? How does it work?
A swarm trap is basically it's a box that you would put it often about this size, about the size of a nuke. And they are baited with maybe, excuse me, what do you call it? Lemongrass and a few empty frames. And that way the bees are the... Oh, I'm getting my tongue all tangled.
Take a drink and then go again.
So the bees send out scouts when they're going to swarm, and they're looking for a place to go. And those scouts hopefully will be attracted to the scent of the lemongrass in that empty box and move the colony into there. So basically you're just encouraging them to enter a box.
Giving them a new apartment.
Giving them a new apartment so that you can easily move them back into your apiary. Yeah. Okay. Did I get that right, Good Game? Paul Otis and Good Game. Did I get that right?
Paul says you can use a nuke for a swarm trap.
Yeah, so I did get it right because he said right there, some old comb and lemongrass oil. Yeah. A. Lynn says, I don't keep bees, but I'd like to help feed the population. Any recommendations? Well, the best thing is natural flowers. You know, you can put bee feed out, but of course, just planting lots of plants for the pollinators. Look up in your area, whatever your climate is, for pollinator plants, and find an area in your yard and do lots and lots of those. Clovers are really good, salvias, you know, depends on your climate, but find something. Otherwise, you can put out sugar feeders if you want. That's not ideal, but it is something that the bees can take back and utilize. Yeah, those are probably the two suggestions. Other people might have better suggestions for feeding bees, but that would be mine.
I put out sugar water in plates all around my property.
There you go. Sugar water in plates. Yeah, they do like to land. Of course, it can't be a bowl because they can drown. But if you have sugar water in a plate or a shallow dish, maybe put some sticks or rocks in there so the bees can climb on it and get down in there. Yeah, let's see. Good Game Bees, if you have a dead queen, you can use her to make a lure as well. That sounds kind of sick, but I made a video on making lures using dead queens. I'll have to check that out. Let's see. None of the swarms, this is Pioneer Bee Company in Homestead. None of the swarms I've caught have stayed. I've only, I think twice. Those who watch my videos might correct me. Often I forget what I've actually done. But I think I've only put a swarm in a box twice. And one of them I put in the box, they flew out. I put them back in the box, they flew out. I did it 3 times. Finally they left and I said, have a good life. They were gone. But then I captured another swarm recently from a neighbor's property and put them in a box, and they're still here. Those are the ones in the last video where I was doing the bee feeders. That's that swarm. So I've managed, I'm 50% right now on keeping swarms to stay in the boxes. John O'Neill, love your videos in the UK. Good, good. It makes... Hey, Luke. How you doing, bud? Luke and Mama. See, they felt trapped in the house. They didn't want to come out behind the video, but they could have used the back door. Could have used the back door. I think they wanted to get in the video there. John Haffey, I originally found out about you from your beekeeping endeavors. Hey, that's an interesting question. I've never really thought often to ask this question. Just for fun, right now in the chat, type the subject, how you found my videos. Whether it be gardening or orchards or chickens or bees or whatever, type in the chat how you found my videos. And just for fun, so I can see it later, when this goes into replay, come back and type that again so that I can see, and maybe we'll do a little something with that. But yeah, that's an interesting... I like to know how people find my channel because She hesitated starting the truck, I think, because of the video. So my channel is kind of just some of it's kind of random. It's all homesteady, but it's more just my story, my journey as I go through this. So as I get distracted, for example, on the horse barn, a lot of the gardening and orchards and chickens and all that stuff kind of gets put to the back burner, and I focus on horse fences and horse barns. But now that that's over, my channel is going to go back more toward whatever other project comes up, which hopefully it's gardening, because I really want to get back into gardening. But so that's the interesting thing about my channel, is it kind of just flows with whatever my story is here on the homestead. So people get to come in at different points and see, you know, maybe they find me because of kombucha and they think that's what I do is all kombucha, where that's not all I do. However, I do have a plan on making some more kombucha videos real soon. Maybe it's beekeeping. There for a while I was doing beekeeping videos, it seemed like 2 or 3 times a week. And now that they're kind of just hanging out there and the horse barn took over, the beekeeping videos kind of tapered off. So it's interesting how my channel just kind of is like a roller coaster on subjects. Home Place Journal. I have tons of borage or borage seed if you want some, Kate. Hey, there's a good offer.
Yes.
I love that stuff. I love seeing it in the garden. I've learned a lot from this channel. I live in a city, large city, but I still like learning. You know, there's still a lot to learn in a city. In fact, small space often causes people to be a little more dedicated to whatever it is. Like if you're gardening in a small space, people who garden small gardens often are, in my opinion, more focused and better gardeners, because that's what they do. People who have large space and they have gardens and chickens and goats and orchards and bees and horses, they're not really, I'm talking about me, not really good at any of it. They just do all of it because there's too many things that take your attention and spread you too thin. So if you are a balcony gardener or a small plot gardener or maybe a backyard chicken keeper, chances are you know more about those subjects than I do. Liv showed up. Good morning, everybody. Just made it here. Remember that we are only 6 hours ahead. Good morning, Liv. It's good to see you. Or good afternoon for you. So, Michelle is found me by kombucha. Good. I'm going to read some of these. Beekeeping. Apple cider vinegar. Pony vat. All my horse stuff, and you found me by apple cider vinegar. Nice. Homesteading in general is Good Game Bees. Hannah's Simple Thoughts, How to Make Kombucha. And so, hey, those of you who found me by the kombucha videos, if you will go to my kombucha video, if you have questions, go type your questions, because I'm going to start making a series of kombucha videos. Timeline not promised right now, but soon, hopefully. And I'm going to use the questions in the comments to help me make my videos coming up. So if you have questions about kombucha, put them in there. Let's see here. Ducks. Fundamental Home. Oh, that's how you found me, because the Fundamental Home channel several times has mentioned me. So very grateful for that. Let's see, Researching Bees. Pioneer Bee Company says, I love your style of video. I'm going to make, going for the same style. Well, thank you very much. Most beekeeping videos are pretty boring. I try not to be boring. Sometimes I'm boring, but I try not to be boring. I love your story and journey and learning along the way as well. That is so good. 65 and still learning. Happy, you don't look a day over 50. Let's see. Beekeeping. Kombucha. Came for the kombucha, stayed for the character. Well, thank you very much. Ruth, how to plant green peppers. Well, that's exciting. I did a couple of pepper planting videos. Your kombucha, Mama, I got from you. Oh, yeah, the mother. Still making good stuff. That's exciting. That's good. Raised gardens or wood chips. That's Phyllis. She found me through the gardening videos. All right. Wow, this is exciting. That's really cool. Granny T. Enjoy the variety. I didn't realize how much effort goes into all that you do. And it's a lot of work. But it's all a work of passion. I really enjoy everything that I get to do. I do often wish that I could find a way to make the homestead pay for itself, you know, through products, or maybe someday the YouTube thing will pay for it or whatever, so that I could focus daily on doing this stuff and share that passion and share that through farm tours and farm days, and bringing people onto the farm to do classes or whatever. But as of yet, I still have a full-time job, so I get to do this stuff in the evenings and on the weekends.
Aileen found you researching tomato planting.
Oh, okay. Gardening. Let's see. I imagine all of the subjects have somebody, hopefully. Oh, Pony says, in my defense, the horse farm had an overload of apples last year. Maggie and the tortoises keep me coming back, learning about everything non-vet now. That's cool. That's cool. And if you had an abundance of apples and you're making cider or vinegar, that is exciting stuff. Okay, I see here Aylin with the tomato plants. Home Place Journal, do you sell produce? I don't. Not last year, a couple years ago, I sold some peppers and tomatoes because I had a little bit of an excess, but mostly I don't produce enough for, and honestly, that year that I did sell stuff, I really should have just canned it instead of selling it, because later in the year we didn't have anything. So I don't really produce enough to be like a market gardener, but maybe someday. Kate's garden potentially could be that, because her garden is
huge,
much bigger than mine. So yeah, I'm confined right now. My property is not well laid out for large gardens, you know, traditional row type gardens, big rectangles, because I don't have a lot of big rectangular space here. So in time, what I'm trying to do, now that I have the horses back and we're working on figuring out how to build a better area for the tortoises, I want to start working in more gardening type plants into the landscape, so that I don't have to have big traditional rectangular gardens. I want to do a more natural permaculture type farm, you know, because
like a food forest.
Like a food forest, yeah. So I have the orchard up front. The orchard now, there's a plan to expand the orchard and make berms in the orchard that will have blackberries and elderberries. I've already started one berm that has blackberries and elderberries. Wow, we just got a little cold. Yeah, it got chilly. Also, I'm planting different fruit trees. I'm hoping to plant different fruit trees, figs and citrus and jujube and different things around different places on the farm that's not in the garden. I mean, in the orchard. And then also plants like moringa and chaya and you know, of course, the blackberry and all of those types of things that I can work in around, kind of as a more food forest type effect, where you have your overstory and your understory and your vining plants and all those things. That's my goal. It's taken a long time to get there, because I just haven't had a dedicated plan to make that happen. Plus, when we got the horse, well, it's been a year and a half now, I think, with the horse, she changed everything. She interrupted every plan I had, and she killed several trees. I love her. Maggie is a wonderful horse. But as a non-horse educated person, I had a lot to learn. And Maggie taught me really, over the last year, a lot of lessons about keeping a horse. She showed me how she likes to use trees, how she would prefer to eat trees and step on trees and rub her belly on trees. And I can't just have her out because it changes all of my plans. So, yeah, I can't even remember what I was talking about there. Let me see who's talking here. Yeah, I don't know what Good Game Bees. Home Place Journal said, Good Game Bees, me too, want to find specialty, so I need to go see. I can't keep up with you guys. Hey, PS4 YouTuber showed up. Hooked About Nature, found you a while ago, stayed because I love your channel. Love, luck. Oh, there you go. So Good Game Bees talking about starting a nursery. That's one of the things that I thought I would do here on the farm, and maybe someday when things settle down, if things ever settle down, I might someday do a nursery as well, because I love starting plants. I love growing plants, and I would like to be one of the sources in the local area for fruit trees and tomato plants, you know, gardening type plants and herbs, all those things. I would love to help supply some of those things to the local economy. Big money in selling bees. I actually thought about selling bees too, but I have a lot. I'm going into my 5th year. I feel like I'm only within the last year or so sort of starting to get bees. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I hoped to not be so far behind. But I feel like I'm starting to get bees. I'm starting to understand. I'm getting a little bit. I'm starting to understand how the bees communicate and to communicate to me even. Start listening to them, observing them more closely, and understanding them. And then maybe in the next couple years, I'll be at a point where I can split and sell nukes and make a few dollars off of that too. I don't think I can make a living doing that, but I could make, you know, maybe a couple $100 per nuke every, you know, I know some people will split their hives and sell 5 or 6 nukes every spring, unless you're in the big time, and then you have hundreds of hives and you can sell hundreds of those. But I will never have that much of a beekeeping operation. Let's see here. Home Place Journal. I'm in the city, 60 by 90 foot property, rented. Makes growing a bit interesting, especially since I have rabbits, chickens, and ducks. Yeah, that's wow. That's utilizing a small space well. I actually wrote down some stuff. You might be able to read that. This is a list that I wrote for myself I feel like I'm getting behind. I am often really just on the edge of keeping up, falling behind, but I don't often write myself lists like this because I feel like I'm just always keeping up, just right on the edge. But now I feel like I'm behind, so I have to keep a list, and so I have a project list that I'm adding to. I have a video list that I'm adding to. And also in the comments, this is another thing, if you guys have an idea in the comments of any of my videos, you say that you want an update on something or whatever, go ahead and leave that. I may not get to it ever or right away, but if you leave those comments, then I will at least have something that I can help remind me to do something. Like somebody recently said, how are the cats? They would like a cat update, because I did do that video about doing having the farm cats or the barn cats come onto the farm, and they want an update. So I'm going to do that one. I keep saying soon, but I don't know how soon it's going to be. But it's on my list. I need to harvest sweet potatoes. I need to get the video on my Patreon account for the Sandor cats, the fermenting talk that I was at a couple weekends ago. I just edited yesterday a video about my grandson taking a walk in the woods. And so that one's going to be on Patreon probably even today. And the reason they're on Patreon instead of my main channel is that they don't really fit, in my opinion, what the main channel is. So those are like special bonus features that will be on the Patreon account. Also, yesterday I did a Steam It post and also on Patreon about making basil blueberry infusion. That was kind of fun. So you can check that one out on Steam It, or if you are a patron, you can check that out on Patreon. And I have an idea. I think it was actually last week in the live show, we talked about me doing a beginning beekeeping video. Basically, a video that's going to help people start beekeeping, some advice, and all from the perspective of a non-professional, but somebody who has done it for a few years and has learned a few things. And maybe I have a different perspective on the advice that you might want compared to some of the big-time beekeepers that have been doing this for a long time. And then the bee feeder video I wrote down, but I actually did get that accomplished this week, so I'll just, right now, I'm going to scratch that off the list right now. When you have a list and you can scratch something off, that feels kind of good. All right, let's see, home place journal. If I had a wood fence around property, oh, I jump in the conversation and I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Liv gave you a super
Oh, Liv, thank you so much. Every Saturday I can count on a few of you. Not every, I don't want to commit you guys, but it is nice to know that I have some people that support me and very consistently, and you are one of those. And I thank you very much for being in my family and family. I say family for those of you that don't know. FANILY is the name of my Facebook group, Daddykirbs Family. So thank you, Liv, for that super chat. Thank you for supporting the creative efforts here on the Daddykirbs Farm. In fact, you left a message: coffee, ice cream, and blueberries this afternoon. Is that for me or for you? Because coffee now, ice cream probably later, and I don't have any blueberries. Okay. Good times. Wow, these hours go so fast. It's always fun hanging out with you guys. And thank you for those of you who gave this video a thumbs up. That, you know, YouTube measures those things. I don't often even look to see how many thumbs up or thumbs downers, whatever, that videos get. I don't often watch that, but I know that YouTube does. So by giving the video a thumbs up, any of my videos, you're telling YouTube that there's something of interest here and they should probably pay attention to that. So thank you very much for those of you who take the time to click that little button. And head over to Patreon. Thank you, Good Game Bees. If you become a patron, yesterday I was thinking a lot about how can I serve my patrons better? How can I give them something that my main channel doesn't have? Something that helps tell the story a little deeper, or maybe share some different subjects. So that's why I put up the video yesterday about the blueberry basil infusion, and I'll be putting up the video about Liam, my grandson's walk in the woods. It was cute. And then also the Sandor Cats video is going to go up on Patreon. Sometimes those things also end up on Steam It, but not always. The Patreon does have some exclusive content. So, oh yeah, Ruth, Praxis55712 mentioned my channel. He did. I was very grateful for that. Ray is a great YouTuber, a great storyteller. So I'm glad that you found my channel and decided to hang out with me. Let's see here. So some of the projects, we have a few minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of the projects that I wrote down. And yeah, we'll see if we can get to these things. I'll show you.
Patreon link is up.
Oh, you guys put the... Oh, thank you. Kate is a wonderful moderator with a gift of greeting and chatting. So she hangs out in the chat the whole time that I'm chatting over here live. You can see her typing away on the side. And she puts links up. She just put the Patreon link. So I'll try to remember to put that in the description box of the video. But for now, for those of you in the chat, you can see that link. Also, She doesn't have to type it. But if you ever shop on Amazon, go ahead and check that out. Shop/BlakeKirby. It doesn't cost you a penny more, but it helps out the farm. So some of the projects, I'm going to build a new chicken tractor, and the design that I'm going to model, it won't be exactly the same, but if you watch Al Lumna at Lumna Acres, he's a great personality. I really like Al, and I like his video style and his projects. He's currently building a really cool outdoor kitchen. Actually, it's kind of a indoor kitchen in an outdoor space. But anyway, so he did a chicken tractor, and I like the design of it. I'm going to modify it a little bit for my own needs, but that's where I'm going to start. So you can check out Al Lumna at Lumna Acres and his chicken tractor. I have a garden fence idea, a way to expand my own garden and to create a more protected space so that the chickens don't get in there. Also, chicken fence, so a similar fence around what is now called the chicken/goat run, so that there will be times when I can let the chickens out of their coop, but not out into the yard. Plant fig trees. I have to plant some fig trees. Now that the horse is behind a fence, I can plant my fig trees. Lemon trees. I have several lemon trees that need to get in the ground. Mulching the front orchard garden. I have to add another layer of mulch to that garden. Finish the barn. I'm right there. I'm so close. I need to finish the barn, and hopefully that happens in the next couple weeks. I really hope that happens. Move the apiary. That's the bee yard. I have a plan. I really do have a plan. It's going to cost, I'm going to build a fence. It's going to cost me a couple $100 in material, so I got to get that together and then get those bees moved over to the space where I think they're going to have a better space. It's going to be easier for me to access, and their flight path is going to be changed so they're not flying directly through my neighbor's yard who has grandkids that play in the backyard. And the tear down. That's the old barn. That's going to be a big project, and it's going to help me move on to one of the other big projects here on the farm, and that's building a new shop. The shop is probably, that's going to be a 2 or 3 or 4 year project probably, because I have, I have to do it in stages just because of money and time that I have available. I had a great time this morning. I hope you guys did too. These Saturday mornings are fun for me. It's interesting to see who shows up, who shares their story. I love, I don't always react because I have to keep going, but it's fun seeing the comments. It's fun hearing Kate chuckle every once in a while at comments that I have no idea what's going on. But this is just good times for me. So hanging out on the porch is always kind of fun. Usually we try to do it in the yard so you can see the garden or the horse barn in the background. But, oh, Sandra joined us. Good morning. It's good to see you. So, yeah, and last week we did in the house, which hope it doesn't get so cold that we have to do that very often. But occasionally that might happen too. So you'll get to see a bit of the Daddykirbs kitchen. It's really the Mama Kirbs kitchen. But, you know, since it's branded Daddykirbs, we got to throw that in every once in a while.
Can't forget Mama Kirbs.
That's right. I think she's growing to not hate the name Mama Kirbs. Initially, the first time I called her Mama Kirbs, she's like, you can be Daddykirbs all you want. I'm not Mama Kirbs. But I've said it a few times now, and I think maybe she's warming up to it. At least she's tolerating it. So.
And she doesn't make terrible faces when I call her Mama Kirbs. So.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, she's good. She's good. She just didn't like it. In fact, this is just, we have another minute. I'll just tell you a story. Every time, when I first started doing this Daddykirbs thing, first of all, I got the name Daddykirbs. Let me make this real short, but I'll give you a little background. If you don't know, I got the name Daddykirbs from when I was in the military. I had, let's see, which kid was this? I gotta remember, because I have 5 kids, but when I was in the military, I had, we just had our 4th kid. I took a little leave to be with my wife as she was having our 4th child, and I went back to work, and I already had the nickname Kirbs, Kirbs. My last name is Kirby, but for some reason they just called me Kirbs instead of Kirby. And one of the guys sitting there where I worked, I walked in, and he yelled, "Daddykirbs!" And there was the first time that I was ever called Daddykirbs because of the number of children that I had, and also another one later. So Daddykirbs became my nickname in the military. Only a few people called me that, but when I got out of the military and I started doing things online and developing this online life, I thought, I'll just use that for my username because it's an interesting name. It's got an interesting story. And then I made a YouTube account in 2006. This was 4 or 5 years after I had got out of the military. And I just read a comment. So you guys make comments and then distract me. Anyway, so I got out of the military and started doing some online stuff, made a YouTube account, some other things, and I started posting videos, and I thought, well, I'll just be Daddykirbs online. And in 2010, I think I made my first actual Daddykirbs video. And then in 2013 was the year that I fully embraced being Daddykirbs online, and then it became Daddykirbs Farm. And the reason I tell you all of that was that as I started thinking through how can I share this farm, share this story, share the products, and I talked to my best friend in my life, is my wife, Mama Kirbs, and she, I would say, we can make Daddykirbs whatever product, and she was like, every time I'd say it, she goes, does it have to be called Daddykirbs? Are you sure you want to call it Daddykirbs? Can we call it something else with a prettier name? Apparently she didn't like the name Daddykirbs very well, so that's why at first she resisted being called Mama Kirbs. But I am Daddykirbs. She's my wife, so she is by default Mama Kirbs, really, and she's okay with it. So hey, it's been an hour and 2 minutes. It has been wonderful. I love hanging out with you guys. Kate, thank you very much for being a part of this, helping me out. I really could not do this show without you guys, and I couldn't do it without you and my other moderators. It's just always a fun time. So after the show, it takes a little while, 30 minutes or so, for YouTube to let these things go into replay, and you guys can remember what I said is go on and do the comment about how you found me, because that would be a fun thing to see in the comments, and then any other fun comment that you have, and we'll talk to you not next week. I just remembered I won't be here because I'm taking a family vacation, taking my family away from the farm for a while, so it's actually going to be maybe 2 weeks that I'm out, but at least next week I won't be on the live show. So I'll probably be in and out of some of the other, like the Daddykirbs family group on Facebook. I won't be hanging out there very much, but I might check in. So if you have something you want to talk about in there, definitely with the group, with the family, and then I might see you there. So I think I'm just done rambling.
And I'll be on the family group and wherever else.
That's right. So Kate will be on Steam It. She'll be on the family group, and we'll be in contact. So that's it. That's a show. Thank you.
Take care.
Love you guys. See you next time.